Peace be upon you, everybody. This is Let's Go Hot Cheeto. I've been playing Assassin's Creed since I was like 7 years old. I remember playing AC2 after getting home from the mall, and since then, I've been a fan. But the formula of Assassin's Creed has had an identity crisis, unfortunately, since Origins, and although I loved Origins, it still felt like Assassin's Creed despite not being a stealth action-based game. Odyssey I did enjoy until I was, done discovering the entire world and story. And despite being an RPG, and the world being too large, I still enjoyed it. But with AC Valhalla, I struggle finding enjoyment with it. Like, I can't parkour, it's not fun. I don't want to fight enemies because they're all bullet sponges. And it's just, I can't play it. I'm sorry, I can't play it. Granted, I'm not gonna say this game is objectively bad, because I can't make a completely valid judgment since I haven't finished the story. But I'm gonna say it from the perspective of an old fan who enjoyed the 2 previous RPG games, and all the older ones. Anyways, I'd love to hear your guys' perspectives and experiences, so be sure to leave it down in the comments below. So without further ado, let's begin on why Valhalla is expired. Beneath all the weird microtransactions and all the other stuff, there's been a fundamental issue with Assassin's Creed gameplay, that being an RPG. Now, I'll admit, I enjoyed climbing, I enjoyed the assassination mechanic where it's like a quick time event. I appreciate the Hidden Ones bureaus where it has a bunch of lore that you can read. It's so freaking cool. Be able to read about the Hidden Ones history and stuff. The cities feel diverse where, unlike in Odyssey, they don't look like the same city every time you walk in. And they actually have a codex. Wow. It's so freaking cool. I can read about history. The very thing that inspired me to read in about what happened during the Renaissance, the Middle Ages, the Third Crusade, Salah ad-Din, and King Richard's battle. It's so freaking cool. And despite this, the underlying issue with Valhalla is Ubisoft's poor system and understanding of what made Assassin's Creed so special in the first place. The gameplay, the mechanics, the movement, the combat, the stealth, and most importantly, above all else, the map design. First of all, the map is simply too big. If you look at a map from AC2, Black Flag, and especially AC Rogue, each map gives you a sense of scale without being too tedious to traverse the map. It's kind of like how Actman talked about in his BO2 review, how a map should feel expansive, but not tedious to traverse. Along with this, the most important part, the cities don't encourage climbing, where most of the city's buildings aren't close enough, or anything connecting to allow the parkour to flow. Take any city like Florence, Constantinople, all these cities have the buildings close enough together, and ways to climb up that encourage you to climb. Like those box things in AC2 and literally every other game. And by not having them, what the hell is the point in climbing at all? Like, seriously. Like, look at any city from Florence, Constantinople. All these cities have the buildings close enough together, the boxes to help you get up, to encourage you to climb. And there's hardly any crowds on the ground, so it's like, well, I can just run over them with my horse, so, there's no reason to. And by doing this, they remove a huge major component of gameplay that actually makes you feel like an assassin. And along with the seemingly slower movement, a major issue is the climbing itself, because it does everything for you automatically. Or in other words, you have little to no control over your movement. And what I mean is, in AC2 for example, in order to sprint, you have to hold the trigger button and X to sprint, but you could also jog just by holding the trigger button, or if you just want to walk, you just move the analog stick. And although I do appreciate that they added back a sprint button in Valhalla where Origins had none, the problem lies with the fact that with the analog stick, it's a lot harder to control the pressure compared to the trigger button, because and with your index finger you just have more control over the pressure because, well, that's what it's meant for. It's so you can control the pressure of it, whereas the analog stick, you're just supposed to move it. Like, that's all you're supposed to do. And the hitbox system, along with the shitty controls, it just brings a lot of issues that just don't fit with Assassin's Creed. Like, Ubisoft, what's wrong with the original combat system? Like, it was simple, it was fun, there's nothing wrong with it. Just add it back, please. You know, AC Mirage isn't going to have it, but thankfully they're lowering the damage required to kill an enemy, so thank God. But all in all, the combat, the gameplay, the movement, the mechanics, the climbing, I just don't enjoy it, and I believe that's one of the reasons why I just don't want to keep playing this game. And it's a huge reason why I just keep going back to AC1 and AC2 and all these older games, because, well, they actually make me feel like an assassin. So based on where I was at with the story, you know, I was raiding all the forts and stuff, forging alliances. I didn't really care about the characters, I didn't care about the, I don't know, killing the Order of the Ancients. I felt like the story should have just revolved around Eivor killing, what was the name, Kjotve, and restoring Eivor's clan's honor.
Carry such a useless burden. Let it go.
My honor has been stained. Until it's wiped clean, I want nothing else.
So if the story wasn't this long, it was just about that, I would have been had to go, because I actually felt bad about what had happened. So, but Ubisoft, of course, had to make it longer. Besides Eivor, you have Basim, your wise, stoic assassin dude. You have Sigurd, your cool brother, and, you know, a few other characters I don't really care about. And then you have Dag, who's pretty funny, so, you know, you have a pretty cool crew. But the problem is I don't really care about them, so, you know. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you like Valhalla, that's cool. I'm just trying to explain why I didn't really enjoy the game, or, you know, just have a little motivation to play the game. I feel like the story just was too long, and Ubisoft just doesn't understand what makes Assassin's Creed, so I'm bummed out. I have hope for Mirage, since they seem to have an understanding of at least what the world should be like, you know, with all the parkour elements and stuff. But with Valhalla, I feel like it's like a really good representation of how far Ubisoft has forgotten what the series is. You know, a series based off the idea of being a blade in the crowd, assassinating your enemies not seeing you, you know. I don't know why Ubisoft can't get this right, and I'm sad about it. And unfortunately, I feel like Valhalla is a perfect representation of that, and so that is why Assassin's Creed Valhalla is expired. And as such, thank you for watching, and peace and safety upon you.